Hello guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Now today's video, it is another episode of Talk of the Hatters. In today's video we will talk about that draw against Millwall at home. We're also going to talk about Dan Potts and his recent performances and whether or not he would be a Luton player next season, and also talk about our next game, in a very important game in fact, against Peterborough away from home. So let's firstly talk about Millwall and our draw against them. So firstly, is it a good result against Millwall? Now, Millwall are always tough to play against. They always have been, since being in the Championship, they have been a extremely hard team to beat. Now, we did get 3 points at their place this season, which came at surprise to a lot of us because we don't really have the best of records against them, especially at their ground. But we got a good win, and, I think a lot of us were very confident heading into this game against them. Now, they're not completely out of the playoffs. They can still get in there if they go on a really good run. So they needed to get some sort of positive result against us away from home. And I think a point away from home is a good result. It doesn't matter who you play against, really, unless you're 100% guaranteed to win. But I think for them, they would take a draw against us away from home. Now, I think the disappointing thing for us is that we had to come back twice from behind to get something. Now, you can look at that in a positive, that we had to come back and, that's how we got our point. But really, should we have gone down in the first place? Should we have gone 1-0 down or 2-1 down? And that's the question, really. Now, Millwall's first goal, I want to say it's a bit lucky. The guys just had a shot from distance and we just didn't react that quick to it. We weren't tight on the player, and he scored from outside the box, 20 yards out. Beat Shea. It was a good finish, to be fair. To the player, but ideally we should have done a bit better there. Not many clear-cut chances in this game, in fact, but we did respond. Adebayo, great link-up play with Bell on the left-hand side. And what a finish it was by Adebayo. We still yet to lose when Adebayo has scored in the Championship for us. So, it's a good record to have at this moment in time. Hopefully he can continue to score from now to the end of the season in every single game. But then in the second half, Millwall, we were pushing on to try and get the 3 points. Millwall had a counter-attack, and I thought we could have defended the counter-attack a lot better. I thought Dan Potts, and we will talk about him in today's video, I thought he could have defended Benikophobia a lot better. Now, when you look at that goal back, really, Millwall were only going to give the player to one player, really. Was only going to give the ball to one player, and that was Benikophobia. And Potts wasn't tight enough on him. It was pretty much a free shot from 5 yards out, really, and it was really poorly defended. I think we should have done a lot better there, and I do look at Potts in that situation because he was the closest player to Benikophobia. And he should have read the danger, and he didn't, unfortunately. And, easy finish for Benikophobia, but we should have defended that better. And I just want to say as well, we come back, obviously, again. Last season, we would have lost this game. We would definitely have not have fought back twice, especially against Millwall. We definitely wouldn't have done that. And the fact that we have done this year just shows you how far we have come from last season. And then, obviously, with our second goal, Snodgrass, a fantastic free kick into the box. We know he's a set-piece specialist, and it was an own goal in the end. And, we do get a point from the game. I think it is a fair result. I think if you look back in the game at Cornick, that chance which he had one-on-one with the goalkeeper, I think he has to score. I think if he scores as well, it's a completely different game, and we could go on to win the match, actually, if he scores at that point in the match. But he didn't, and that's what lets Cornick down a little bit. But, the thing is with Cornick, the easy chances he doesn't score, but the hard chances he scores, which just don't make sense. But he should have done better there in that situation. And unfortunately, he did have a poor game, Cornick, in my eyes. But, it is what it is. We got something from the game. It's not a defeat, and we move on to the next game against Peterborough. But as I've already mentioned in the video, I do want to talk about Dan Potts. Now, as we've had a recent, suspensions, we've had injuries at the back, we've had to change it quite a lot. And Dan Potts has played the last few games. Now, I thought Dan Potts has done extremely well against Preston. I also thought he done extremely well against Hull as well. So he has put in performances in, considering he hasn't played that much in the season, and that is fair play to him. He is playing in that left centre-back role, not as a left-back. I do think he's a lot better at left centre-back than he is as a left-back. I think last season I mentioned quite a lot that we needed a left-back, and that's why we brought in Amari Belwin, who does the job really well. But yeah, we definitely needed someone at that left-back role because I didn't think Potts was quite good enough. But he's fitted in at left centre-back. He has been more of a backup choice. And the question is, do we keep him for next season? But as I mentioned, he's put in some decent performances in recently. But I just don't see him as a first-choice centre-back in my eyes. I know he's been at the club for a very long time. Only 2 players have managed to survive since Nathan Jones first came to the club, and that's Pelly and him. But I just don't think Potts is capable or good enough to take us to the next level. Now, if we do remain in the Championship next season, then it's probably worth actually keeping Potts as a backup choice. But if we are going to progress to the next level, then I just don't see the point in, keeping Dan Potts. And, I say fair play to his services since being at the club, but I just don't see him as a player that can take us to the next level. I think injuries as well with him. He's quite injury prone. He does get it quite a lot, quite frequently. So I just can't see him being the future of Luton. But if we were to remain in the division, then I don't see why not. But with him, I thought, especially at his age as well, I would think he would want to play first team football elsewhere. But that's obviously down to him as an individual. But personally, I just don't see him as the future of Luton. But he has put in decent performances in. Will we see more of him from now to the end of the season? I'm not too sure, because with Sonny Bradley being on the bench, yes, he isn't quite match fit yet, Bradley. But I think when he is fully fit, that'd be it for me. I think that, the centre-backs would be Lockyer, Naismith and Bradley, or Burke in there as well. I think, Potts, he's way down the pecking order in terms of getting a starting place in the team. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comment section, guys, your thoughts on Dan Potts. And if you are new to the channel as well, make sure you subscribe. It is free, and yeah, it does help me out a lot. But moving on to the next game, which we've got next, and that is Peterborough away from home. Another difficult game. Peterborough are obviously fighting for their lives down at the bottom. I say fighting for their lives. They did lose against Middlesbrough 4-0 at home. Middlesbrough just completely outplayed them. A team that Luton could potentially face in the playoffs if we both get into them at the end of the season. But yeah, they got absolutely outplayed by Middlesbrough, and they looked dead and buried, Peterborough. If I'm being honest, they look like they're going down. When I saw them come up at the start of the season, I thought they had enough in them to stay up. They had goals in that team. It was just the defence was going to let them down a little bit. But, I just don't. I think they're gone. I really do. I think their heads are down. But they're going to need to react. They are going to react from the 4-0 defeat. We need to bounce back from the draw. If we want to stay in those playoff places. It's going to be tough. It really is. Peterborough got a former Luton player there. 2 former Luton players, in fact. George Grant and also Jack Marriott. So they're likely going to cause us problems, as they always do. We've got pretty much a sellout away following going to Peterborough. It's going to be over 3,000 Luton fans there, which is going to be exciting. The atmosphere is going to be great. But the one thing that does worry me is, Peterborough need a response, and they are fighting for their lives. They're not on holiday yet. They're not down. They've still got a slight chance. I know Derby won on the weekend as well. And Barnsley also getting a point. So Peterborough are desperate for the points. They're going to be desperate. We did beat Peterborough at the start of the season 3-0. So we have beaten them in the past. But whether or not we can beat them now, it's going to be a different story. It's going to be a scrappy game, I can tell. I don't think there's going to be many goals in it. I could be surprised. It could be another repeat of the Middlesbrough game for them, and we do batter them. I'm not too sure, though. We need to be on it going forward, tight at the back. I can see a couple changes from the game against Millwall. I can see Clark or Berry coming in. I really do think we need one of those two starting, and we need that goals from midfield, especially with Clark. We all love Clark at the club, and Berry as well. So we need something, that creativity in the midfield, which would be a real plus for us if we're going to get something from the game against Peterborough. I do think we will win. I'm going to go with a 2-1 score prediction. Fingers crossed Luton can get something. And yeah, let me know down in the comment section, guys, your score predictions and your starting 11s for the game against Peterborough. But guys, that is the end of the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy my another episode of Talk of the Hatters. Drop a like on the video if you did. As I've mentioned already, comment below, you know, your thoughts about Dan Potts on if he stays till next season. Also, you know, the Peterborough game, the Millwall game as well. Plenty to talk about from this episode, so let me know your thoughts all down below. Follow me across all my social media, guys, if you haven't done already. The links are down in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys.